Hey guys, welcome to Minecraft. It is Tuesday, and sorry about no video yesterday. Memorial Day, everybody was home, so never really got a quiet moment yesterday to do anything. So we are doing it today, and I want to go ahead and say right now, there might not be another video for the rest of this week. I'm not sure yet. We are getting ready for the big move to Tennessee, so we'll be leaving for Tennessee on Friday. Hopefully next week everything will be back to normal once we get up there and get everything situated how we want it up there. And yeah, so just wanted to let you guys know that, just in case I don't get another chance to make another video, that's what's going on. And right now we're going to go into the Nether. I mean, I'm gonna try to post something. I just don't know if it's going to happen or not. We'll have to see how everything goes, because I know there's not going to be one Friday, maybe not even Thursday. I'm not sure yet, because I gotta take all my stuff down and get it all situated how I need it for the move and everything. So no worries though, it'll be back up to normal next week, hopefully, if all goes well. But right now I am collecting some netherrack because I want to build a fireplace in my castle. So I want to get some of this good old netherrack here. It should be, well, I might want to put it on multiple levels, so I'm going to just go ahead and get a stack of 64 here real quick. Shouldn't take that long, there's plenty of the stuff around. Alright. Not a whole lot to talk about today. Yesterday was Memorial Day. I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day. Hope everyone took a minute. Oh, what the hell? It spawned me at the old base. What the shit? Hold on a second. I am going to destroy this portal real quick. I'm tired of... I always forget that I spawn over here. So I'm going to go ahead and break this up. Hopefully my pickaxe doesn't break on me. But anyway, like I was saying, yesterday was Memorial Day. I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day. And hopefully everyone remembered what Memorial Day is really about. It's about those who have served our country. And I read a story about, well, it wasn't really a story. It was more like a quote from a man's wife, and the man had served in Vietnam, and she had said he never talks about like being in Vietnam, but at nighttime when the nightmares start, like, she's very aware of how much it cost him to serve. And basically what she said was that you know, he has to live through nightmares for the rest of his life, so the rest of us don't have to. And I thought that was very, very poignant, because I mean that's basically what it is. Because I mean, I've met some Vietnam vets when I worked in Tallahassee, Florida, at a gas station. There was a big wooded area out back. It was undeveloped, you know, so there was just a big wooded area, and there was like a homeless camp. And now I know what everyone's thinking, probably the same thing I was thinking whenever, you know, whenever I found out about it. I was like, oh crap, you know. But it actually turns out two of them were Vietnam vets, and they actually, I'd hook them up, and I'd give them, I'd give them a couple of 40s of beer or a pack of smokes, and they would keep an eye on the place for us, like, especially at nighttime in the area we were in. It wasn't like the greatest area, but they were always around just in case, because it was me, and then a bunch of girls that worked at the gas station. So if I didn't work at night, which I usually did, but if I didn't work at night, they were there. They were going to watch out for the girls, make sure no one messed with them and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. And they actually did do it. I mean, I know some people were probably like, yeah, whatever, they were just using you for, whatever, but I remember there was a fight in the store one night, and two big old dudes, man. I mean, these guys were like way bigger than I was. The girl I was working with, she was like, jump in there, break it up. I was like, are you nuts? I was like, if I jump in the middle of those two guys fighting, I was like, I'm gonna get my ass beat. I was like, I'm not gonna mess with that. And so I went out and I just yelled one of their names, which I can't remember, and I'm ashamed of myself that I can't remember their names now. But I ran out and yelled one of their names just one time, just yelled it out, and within like seconds, like a whole group of them were there, and they were like breaking up the fight, and they chased the guy who started the fight away. And I mean, it was just really beneficial to the both of us, and so I got to know them pretty well, and they were both, like I said, they were both Vietnam vets, and they had a bad war, as the saying goes. It was it didn't go super well for them. They were what they described as search and destroy squads, where they'd go into villages and stuff, and they were the ones that were asked to do some of the stuff that's that nobody wants to do, if you get my drift. So they weren't able to come back and jump into a normal life, and I'm gonna just spawn one of these and I'll just destroy it. But they weren't able to come back, home and just start a regular life. War changed them forever, and they were never. I mean, one of them had kids, and he had a family and everything, and he just could never acclimatize back into the world. And I mean, when you think about it, you go over there, they ask you to serve, they ask you to become killers, and then you come back over here, and they're like, but don't, now stop that, don't change everything that we just spent all these years making you, and turn back into what you were before. And once you kill somebody, I'm guessing it's probably not that simple to turn it back off again, whether you enjoy it or not. I don't think it'd be that easy just to turn it off and forget about everything that you were asked to do. And I think it's a shame. And it's one of the few times that like I can say I agree with President Obama when he said that the way that the Vietnam vets were treated when they came back home was a national shame. I believe that's true. I believe that it was a disgrace how they were treated. I mean, they came back and were called baby killers, and they were just thrown under the bus. Basically, is what it was. They were just thrown under the bus and blamed for a war that they had nothing to do with starting. They weren't the politicians. They weren't the guys, who decided what to, where to go and who to fight and everything. That's not the soldier's job. The soldier's job is to do what's asked of him for his country. And they all did that. And when they came back, they were treated like complete garbage. And maybe in my youth, maybe when I was younger, I could identify more with, the hippies and I say youth, I'm not like an old-ass man or nothing, but maybe I could identify a little bit more with the hippie side of it, you know, the free love and everything. But I would really hope that I would have never treated them like how they were treated. Like, I hope I wouldn't be one of those people, you know, that actually, like, so, you know, like some of those hippies and war activists and all that crap, they would go and, like, wait for them to come home off of the bus or off of the airplanes just to spit on them and call them names. And I mean, what the hell, dude? Like, where do they get off? Sitting here in their nice, cozy little, you know, commune, smoking pot, talking about how they're going to change the world. They didn't do a damn thing. And you talk to some of those old activists now, and they think they changed the world. They didn't do nothing. The people who changed the world are the people they were spitting on. So I'm very fierce about supporting the troops because you know, they're not the ones who start the wars. They're not the ones who go looking for, you know, reasons to start a fight. You know, they're the ones that are there to back up the people who start the fights. They're the ones who are there, and they're the ones who allow us to sleep at night without being worried about a dictatorship bursting into our house and, you know, taking away all of our freedoms. They're what stands between us and, you know, anarchy or chaos. They're asked to do things that maybe they don't even agree with all the time, but they do it because, you know, they believe that this country is worth fighting for. And if they're asked to do something by this country, then they do it. And I respect that. And I really wish that I could have, you know, been able to feel the way I do now back when I was younger, because I really think I would have joined up. I don't know what I would have joined, you know. I'd like to say the Marines, but I don't know if I would have. I might have followed in the footsteps of some of my grandfather and joined the Air Force or something, but you know, back then, I was just, you know, stupid kid thinking that he knew everything there was to know, and it's just, you know. But I've never once blamed the troops for everything, never in my lifetime, because I can remember being in, you know, high school, and one of our teachers got super pissed off when someone criticized the Vietnam War, and jumped all down this girl's throat, and the girl started crying, and you know, I jumped all over the teacher, and I was like, she never said nothing about the troops, you know, because that's what the teacher's issue was that she had friends that served in Vietnam or whatever. And I was like, the war was, you know, fucked up. You ask a Vietnam vet, and they'll tell you that war was fucked up. But she never criticized the soldiers. She criticized the war. And I think some people need to realize that criticizing a war and criticizing the soldiers are two different things. Because a lot of people, you know, you say something about Afghanistan or Iraq or some shit like that, and people just automatically assume that you're criticizing the soldiers, and it's just, that's not how it is. But I've gone off on a tangent here, and I think I probably was saving this. I think I wanted to talk about Memorial Day yesterday, because not a lot of people, you know, Memorial Day to them is, all right, it's grilling hot dog and hamburger and drinking some beers out back. You know, they don't take the time to think, oh, you know, the only reason we're able to do this is because of the men and women who served in the armed forces. Because it goes back, man. You might be like, oh, you know, the people who served in Iraq had nothing to do with me being able to cook a hot dog or anything in my backyard. No, but the militia that served in the American Revolution did. I mean, who knows how Britain would have turned out? Who knows how our country would have turned out? Maybe we would have been ruled just like Britain was, you know, back then, but probably not at first. At first, we would have suffered. If we had lost, we would have suffered for it. And Britain can tell you otherwise, or, you know, England can be like, oh, we would have treated them fairly. No, they wouldn't have, not back then. We would have been punished for starting, you know, for slapping the Queen's hand. But Yeah, so I mean, as far as the game, as far as this goes, the gameplay and stuff, not a whole lot. I got what I wanted. I got my fireplace makings, and I want to show you what I was thinking about for stairs. I was thinking about making it like maybe here and coming out this way and making a staircase that comes down, and then from here like spreading it off on both directions, going up and then meeting over here somewhere up there, like meeting and then doing it backwards, you know, going back and forth like that and having a big grand staircase. And I'm thinking about making like doing it like the fireplace like this. And then lighting it up, maybe putting, you know, like this, something like that. And then with the step up like this, it'll look like it's a higher flame. Here, let me see if I can just find an iron or flint and steel real quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, do it like that, and then do the same thing on this other side, and then on each floor have a fireplace as well. I think it'll look good. Here, let's see. Let me just go ahead. Go ahead, do both sides here real quick. Toss in my cobblestone. Yeah, I think that looks good. And I was going to do a big staircase or a big fireplace right here, but this is actually where I want my staircase to start, is right here in the middle. And I'll walk up and be able to walk around to the floors and stuff. But before I start building the staircase, I'm going to have to get up there and actually start building the floors for the different levels that I've built. But that's going to do it for today. I hope I didn't get too preachy on you guys. I just wanted to give you my thoughts and feelings on Memorial Day, since it was yesterday. And, you know, just if you didn't take a moment yesterday, take a moment today, you know. I mean, every day should be Memorial Day. These guys, you know, a lot of guys, you know, and women, men and women both, who've served in the armed forces, they've literally given everything they can give, up to and including their own lives, to preserve what they believe in this country. How this country can still be great. It might, you know, it might falter, it might stumble every now and then, but this country still has every capacity to be great, and in a lot of ways it still is. Because I mean, we may not agree with what our government's doing, but I mean, would you rather live in China, where they can ban Facebook and stuff like that? I mean, Facebook's not that big a deal, but it seems like that's a freedom, you know. Here, they censorship as far as that stuff goes, and I wouldn't want to live someplace where they tell me what I can and can't look at on the internet, or can and can't watch movies and TV. So this country's still a lot better than a lot of other ones. So remember that next time you're bad-mouthing it. You could live in a lot worse place. Look at Syria. Syria, the 12, 14-month uprising that they've had going on, and over the weekend the government came in and killed 100+ people, 49 of them being children, and their skulls were ripped open and everything. So just think about that next time you know, you go to the gas pump and you're like, oh, this country's so fucked, I'm having to pay $4 a gallon. Okay, well, at least your kids are still alive. At least your kids' skulls aren't ripped open and they're not wrapped up in sheets in a mass grave somewhere in Syria. Things can always be worse. And I'd rather pay a few extra cents for gas than have to worry about some evil fucking dictator trying to preserve his power. So, alright though, guys, I am done preaching and commentating, and like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to be making any more videos this week. If I get a chance to, I will definitely be posting something up, but if not, we will be back next week, and trying to get on a schedule. I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting in the mornings anymore, or if it's going to be afternoons or evenings or whatever, but we'll get it figured out, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.